A very warm welcome. Thank you so much for tuning into yet another episode of the Virtuous Woman Show. As always, I am your host, Sheila Juma, and I'm so delighted to have you watching this program this evening. We hope you've had a great week. And as always, we'd like to encourage you to follow us and engage with us on our social media platforms. We are Virtuous Woman Show on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Twitter and YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss any content that we upload, and make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend. Invite someone to watch with you this program this evening. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead, share this link to your friends and make sure you don't get blessed alone. Today we're having an interesting topic. We're talking about mental health among journalists. Like every other profession, journalists have very high demanding jobs. A lot of expectations upon them. You know, you see them on the screens and you think everything is rosy, but you don't know what happens when the cameras turn off. And so today we want to talk about mental health among journalists. And to do that with me today, I have an amazing woman. Her name is Rachael Kibui. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you so much for accepting our call to come. And I just want, before we start, introduce yourself. That's your camera right there. Tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Rachael Kibui, and I'm very glad to be here. I am a journalist. I have been publishing for the last about 15 years. I specialize especially in agriculture, environment, and climate change. I publish for The Nation. Besides that, I'm also a consultant on communication and media management. I consult for the United Nations and the UNIDO, and then I also consult for USAID, EU, and other organizations. I'm also a mentor for young journalists who are under Media Council of Kenya. I mentor journalists on reporting climate change, and I'm also a trainer on climate change reporting. Besides work, I'm also a wife. I'm married to somebody called Mwiruri, and I am a mother of 3 children. And when I'm not working, I'm either swimming or hiking.
Beautiful. That's such a wonderful introduction. I feel like we know quite a bit about you now. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Have you always wanted to be a journalist?
I have always wanted to be a journalist since I was in class 2 when I wrote a composition on my dog and I got 28/30. And because my father was the head teacher, he read it at the parade. So it really made me feel important. So I knew I would be a writer, but I wasn't sure whether I would publish books or I would teach literature until my elder brother told me about being a journalist and told me journalists don't pay electricity fee, they are paid.
What? Was it true?
Of course it was not. So journalism became very attractive to me, but I've always known that I want to be a writer.
Yeah. And that's what you did in campus?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. And then you went ahead to start working with Nation.
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
I started with Taifa Leo back in 2006.
Okay.
I wrote on full-time until 2015, when I realized that newsroom, I think, was a bit limiting for me. There was too much energy for me, so I decided to continue writing, but also explore other things.
Yeah. You mentioned newsroom. Were you in the newsroom at any point?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And how was that experience for you?
I would say it's a foundation that has made me whom I am so far. Of course, I thank God because all of it came from Him.
God, yeah.
But then it's a making that molded me. You know, when you're in a newsroom, there's a lot of things that you experience. Every day is a new thing for you. And then there's this confidence that is built in you. When you tell people that you went for lunch with a certain minister, then they find it's a big deal. But for you, you have come to a level where you understand people at your own level.
Yeah.
Today you are covering a hungry family. Tomorrow you're out with the president, and you still remain the same Rachel you were. So I would say that it really molded me. It also, I think, trained me to work in time, to deliver in time, to work under pressure, and to just expect something.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, it was an amazing experience.
Especially there for working under pressure, because I know the newsroom is quite, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so what helped you move and transition into publishing instead of the newsroom? Like
no, the newsroom, I mean the print newsroom.
Oh, print
I haven't
newsroom.
worked in the electronics newsroom.
Makes sense.
I have always been a writer, but I
Okay.
can write a script.
Yeah. Oh, for the
And-
newsroom.
And take photos.
Okay, beautiful.
And of course, in the era of digitalization, now
Yeah.
there's something we are calling MOJO, mobile journalism.
Mhm.
So where you also have to embrace everything. So I'm getting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So there's a lot of expectations, for lack of a better word, when it comes to journalists. And I think based on our conversations, there's two types. There's those ones on camera, and there's those ones behind the camera, like editors and all those other professions, yeah? Is mental health among journalists something that is talked a lot about? I don't think it's something that is people are aware about. Have you had conversations around mental health among journalists?
It's been there, but it's been a bit scanty. You know, the newsroom is an area, an arena that things are done in a rush.
Yeah.
Today we are covering this politician, like just the other day we were covering elections. Now we are on drought. Then tomorrow we are going to be on something
Right.
else. Yeah. So even if it's been there, it probably there has not either been time or priority. But I would say it's a very important issue that should be regularly addressed in the newsroom, because there's so much baggage that the media carry. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, in the public eye, you will hear things like dismissal. Wanahabari wanadanganya. Gazeti ni ya kufunga nyama. They were saying that to get adverts. Yet you went there with a humanitarian, heart to do the story. Then it's dismissed as lies. But then it really makes you feel sometimes guilty, sometimes overwhelmed. Yet there's the pressure for the next story.
Right. Yeah. I think you touched on some of the things I wanted to ask you about next, about the contributing factors that lead to mental health issues among journalists. When we see people on screen, because they're a bit famous, they're a bit popular, you think, oh, they have it all together, they look all put together on camera, they look, oh, they have all the money and the friends in the world, but you really don't know what is going on in an individual's life. So what are some of the contributing factors that contribute to mental health issues among journalists?
One of the major contributors to mental health issues or disturbances among journalists is the things that you face.
Yeah.
By the time you come to report about an accident, you were there, you saw people bleeding, you saw people crying, you saw people lose life, you could not rescue, you're not a medic, you see? And then when you go home, the picture is in your mind, probably the picture is also in your camera, but you cannot put it out as it is, Yet it is stuck in your mind. The bus that fell into a river. And there was this journalist who went and found, I think, a child, and then offered to take the child to hospital, but the child died.
Oh.
He had tried his best, you see? Yet, but you have no time. The thing is, there's the rush to go and run to who survived, how many died, has the bus been removed from the river, you see? But at the back of your mind, you are a human who was trying to rescue another human. So what journalists see every day, everywhere, is a contributor to their own disturbances. The expectations from the society, because like for people on screen or on radio, I find it a lot, that the society views you as a super person. When they want to do harambe, you're the person they want to invite. Yet they forget that you have your own economic issues. They forget that probably your pocket is not equal to what they see. They forget that you have own personal responsibilities. There's so much expectations. Hata uwezi pita kwa barabara. There's a friend of mine who works for radio. I tell him I don't like walking around with him because they'll keep whispering, this is so and so. Because
of the voice.
This is so. So there's that expectation and too much attention. But people think that journalists really like it, but I don't think they care. They have their own issues, just like the way a teacher after teaching, they want to go home and attend to their farms, their family. So that's another yet contributing factor. And the other thing is the dismissal. Sometimes I don't like the way the media is dismissed. to every problem. Yeah, remember this Ethiopian journalist who took a shot of the baby in southern Sudan, and then he was asked, "What would you have done more?"
Yeah,
because you have gone, like now I've just come from northern Kenya. I have witnessed people who are hungry. Then somebody would ask me, what more would you have done?
Yeah.
I don't have water in my own house. I don't have food for my own family. But how does the society expect me to? Was it the responsibility of that journalist to have fed the child? It wasn't. It was the responsibility of him to have informed.
Yeah.
So the responsibility of the media is to inform.
Yes.
But the society wants us to look like the media also has a solution. Yeah. You see? So those are some of the major contributing factors.
Yeah, so things that they face in the workplace, things they see, expectations from the public. Wow, that's quite informative. And why do you think that people don't speak up? I think earlier you mentioned about there's always that sense of rush when it comes to journalism. You just want to get moving, get to the next story, what's the next, what's happening. And so probably, maybe it's because they don't have the platform or they're not given the space to. But why do you think that people don't come out to seek help?
I would also want to make it more like create awareness among ourselves and among other people. Because when you tell them to seek help, you look like you're telling them you have a problem. That is something we don't like. It looks like you've already diagnosed us. I think one of the things is lack of awareness on mental health, and this is not just for the media, it's across many professions.
Yes.
We even as a country are less informed on the mental health and the power of it. Another thing is the denial. We say you're strong. You saw this body here, you saw a sick child, you saw somebody hungry, you're strong. You keep telling yourself you're strong, but it accumulates. Another thing is because you have other things to do. You have a family to look after, you have a society, you have the next story, you have yourself. So it becomes like it's not a priority really.
Yeah.
But then there has also been lack of platforms, probably to express. For me to have gotten here, another journalist, a senior journalist, referred me to a mental health championship program. And then it's a learning program. You know what is mental health, you understand different personalities, you understand what people say, why do they say it, why people don't say it, why don't they say it, what would you want to, what do people like being told, what don't they like, what offends them when they're not. So it's because I got into that space that I was able to, and then I was able to relate, so this experience and this experience has made me suffer for this long. So I was not guilty. So I just did my job. So these forums are not, they're just starting to come out.
Yeah.
And you realize you have also noticed an increasing cases of suicide among journalists, and we even lost one year in Nakuru some time ago, because you just burst with too much. It gets to a point where you can't take it anymore. Sure. I think that's a really good initiative about the program that you were able to take. You said it's your senior journalist who recommended it to you. I think maybe it should even be a program that all journalists must take at least maybe in a quarter of a year. 3 times a year. It's this a 10 weeks program and it's online.
It's I think that's very important. What are some of the things probably that you even learned during that program that you would tell journalists, and maybe not even journalists, because this cuts across, on how to deal with some of the things, especially that they see? Because trauma, it gets sometimes through what you see. You'll see a dead body here, you see someone hungry here, whatever. What are some practical things someone can do to help them stabilize their mental health?
One of the things that we all need to know and to accept is that it is okay not to be okay. Ni sawa tu kukua wewe hauko sawa. So I call you, you tell me you're moody, it's okay to be moody. I call you to tell me you feel sad, you're sorrowful, you're crying, it is okay. It is also okay to say no. You don't have to be called today, come and do this, and you're feeling overwhelmed. and do. You don't have to be called by the society to come and assist, and you don't have the money or the resources or the time. It's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It is also very okay to love yourself, to treat yourself, kujipea pole. Because at the end of the day, by the time I go home, who knows what I saw? Who knows what I overcame? Who knows what I experienced?
Yeah.
It is me.
Yeah.
So let me embrace myself, because even the Bible tells us, love your neighbor
As you love yourself.
so I have to learn to love myself, so that I also learn to love my listener, so that I also learn to love my audience, so that I also learn to love my community, so that I also learn to love my politician, so that I also learn to love my work and love my nation.
Yeah.
So journalists should also, and the people in general should embrace themselves, so that the world also embraces. And even if, by the way, by the time you embrace yourself, whether you embrace or not, it no longer matters.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I learned were those, and some of the things that in relation to what journalists experience is that it is okay to seek help.
Yeah.
It is okay for me to call and tell you, hey, this is what I experienced, and makes me feel very sad, and makes me feel guilty. It makes me feel like I want to give up. It is okay. Don't fear that they'll view you as weak. Don't fear that you lose your job.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself first before other things come to be. So those are some of the major things that I would really want people to know and to embrace. They should know it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to love yourself. It is okay to say no, and it is okay to seek help.
Yeah. There's a story I read of a tragedy that happened, I think, if I'm not wrong, in the Philippines. And the journalist was there covering the story. I think it was a mudslide happened. And the houses that were below, they got covered with mud, and a couple of people got stuck, and so rescuers came, the ones that could come, and they tried to help people out. But there was this one girl, a young girl, maybe around 11 years of age. She was caught under the rubble, and they were not able to bring her out. One of the solutions was either we amputate her legs, both her legs, with no medicine, no nothing, because there's no medical help, nothing, and get her out, or just let her die. So there was a very viral picture that went around by this journalist who took it of her just in a happy mood and trying to survive, you know, and the picture went viral. And now people were saying, oh, why couldn't you guys help? Like, people didn't understand why the person took the picture instead of bringing her out, when really there wasn't much he could do about the situation. Back to what you said, journalists go out there, they see drought, they see all these bad things happening, and that guilt comes into their mind. How do you curb guilt? Because in a drought situation, you may not have the solution to or the money to give to all these people so that they can curb the hunger, but you feel bad. You feel bad. And how do you overcome the guilt that you have over what you have seen, even though it doesn't have anything to do with you, but you're human and you feel like you need to do something?
I think one of the things that you do is to understand that this world is not placed on your shoulders.
Yeah.
That God created us. We are the body of Christ. Each one has their own role. The hand has their role, its role. Even the fingers have their role. The eyes have their role. So if you, as a journalist, you the eyes, see, you are the mouthpiece, speak. Yours ends there.
Yeah.
When you accept that, you're able to execute your task, you know, very responsibly and with a lot of fulfillment. Yeah. That you are the eye and the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
When you do your work, what they will do is upon them.
Yeah.
Wewe umefanya yako. Another thing is to learn to speak out. Tell me, where were you? What did you observe? Like, I have just come from northern Kenya. I don't even want to say where. Oh no, it was Coast. From a school where girls have to put mitungi outside their dormitories, far from the dormitories, because if they put them close to the dormitories, snakes will come looking for water, and they will find snakes in their sleeping rooms. Then, after class, they're supposed to fetch water so that now they can wash, you know, and shower. And then it's also the boys have to reside somewhere outside, but then the school has to spend 15,000 shillings daily for water. And you ask them, what is your problem? Maji. But I asked myself, what are the politicians doing?
Yeah.
I'm told even there's a politician who is an ex-student from that school. Then there's
So
some
he
water.
understands.
There's some water by the roadside. Just close from there, they can access water, but they're not accessing it. I'm asking myself why. And then my dilemma is, I felt for a moment, I felt like I should come and start a campaign to changisha for a borehole for that school. But I analyzed what risk could it put for me from the politicians. It's not my business. I am from Central, this is Coast. How many years have they lived like this? So my work is to do what? Tell the world.
Yeah.
Go tell it on.
Yeah.
And then, if whoever is supposed to ask, even when you go before God, I'll be asked, Rachel, what did you write? And then you back, Sheila, you are the MP for that place. What did you do? Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
So I think journalists should stick to their borders, should try to stick from their border. But there's also a lot of condemnation, especially now in the era of digital media. And it has not started here. I mean now, because you are expected to go and say there are no classes, students are learning under trees, or the bridge has collapsed, and then you build. It is not your work to build. It is your work to create awareness that this bridge has broken because of flash floods, because it was built with lesser money that had been budgeted, because like I had the house in Nairobi, it was supposed to have used Sijui Y6 and Y32, and then they used Chumaya Y6. Oh, does journalists have to do with architectural things?
Yeah.
So inform the authorities.
Yeah.
What they do is not for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So knowing that your job is to bring awareness, and the bringing of awareness should bring in the help that is needed. I think that's very important to know that hapa kazi yangu imefika hapa, and it's okay. And it's okay that it has reached hapa. Based on what you're saying, you've mentioned a lot about talking to other people. I don't know if there are communities for journalists. I don't know if there are unions for journalists where they can come together and, you know, have these conversations. Maybe you can let us know about that.
That's something I would really want to have in my career, a forum where we can meet and talk.
Yeah.
I was working here, I met a rhino, it ran after me, I ran under the car, you see. I was working here, I saw this family, and they were very hungry, I did the story, and now they have a home, you see. An open forum for journalists where you're not judged, and where information revolves around. But before we get there, I remember we are still young in the mental health arena. Yeah? Before we get there, I would urge them to talk to a friend, a person you trust. You know, or go write it. By then you can also go and write, today I went and did this and this and this and this and this. The thing is you get it out from your mind, so that things don't accumulate, and then before you know you lose it. So start somewhere. Now
in life there's good and there's bad, and I think focusing on the negative so much can actually affect you mentally. I know in journalism there's all these cons, but I'm sure there's a lot of pros. There's a lot of good things and good fulfillment that you get from being a journalist. Maybe tell us about that.
Yeah, there are a lot of good things. Like if you write a story, and you really, when you're writing a story, you should ask yourself, so what? So sometimes you write a story about, let's say, a hungry family, then so what? Then it triggers attention of the authorities, and such people get help. That is usually very fulfilling. It's also very fulfilling to travel to different places. You crisscross so many places, you interact with people of different cultures, and then you get enculturated into their culture, so you become like one of them. The other day I was in Tanariva, and I had to literally wear a dera and a scarf, so you become part of those people, and then you also appreciate people at their own level, and then you become a person who does not price materialism much, because you have seen people who eat in gold and silver plates, who use golden spoons, yeah? Who eat 5-course dinner. You have also met people who go hungry, who have not eaten for days, who have no roof
over their heads. Yeah.
So this really brings to understanding things that other people are imagining. If it's about drought, for example, other people are imagining about drought. If it's about State House, other people are imagining, but you've been there. So I think it's a very exciting path, but it also requires a lot of passion and a lot of responsibility.
True, very true. What would you say to a young person who's just now coming into journalism?
I'll tell them, one, it's not the smile they see on the screen. The smile is good, it's part of the job. But then you must also find yourself. Just know at the end of the day, I am who? I am myself, a daughter of God, a daughter of someone, a mother, a wife of somebody. I need to also upgrade my education. I need to do a little farming here. I need to do a little consultancy here. So don't look at much, don't concentrate on much at how people see you. Also look at how God sees you and how you yourself see you. Those two should be number one.
Amen. Awesome. So parting shot, maybe just look at that camera and talk to a journalist out there who's probably going through some mental health issues, and either they don't know him or maybe they do know that they're struggling with something. What would you tell them?
Fellow journalists, this career of ours is not just any other work. It is a calling to God. And a calling means it's a blessing. And blessings also have to come with some challenges. And what you're facing is a challenge, and when you're not alone. There are others also who are facing other challenges at their level. Please speak out to your friends, speak out to your family. Reach out to me if you want in my inbox. I can refer you somewhere. But please, don't yet lose it. It is possible, it is doable, and God loves journalists because He relies on us to inform to the authorities, to the policy makers, to the people on what is happening or what He has allowed to happen in this world. Thank you.
Awesome. How can we reach you? On your number or Facebook or?
Yeah, I'm Rachael Kibui on Facebook and at RM Kibui on Twitter.
RM Kibui on Twitter. Thank you so much. That's all the time that we had, but we have learned quite a lot. We are really grateful to have had you today.
Asante sana.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sticking with us this evening. I'm sure you've learned one or two things. And if you're a journalist out there, take heart, continue that passion, don't let it go, and continue doing the good work that you are doing. I hope you've had an amazing time as I have. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next time, same place, same time. Bye-bye.
She's a virtuous